manage our team anymore. But to be fair, I found the first goal we conceded against Forest a goal. So that's the one I saw. I also saw the one at City. For me, that's also a goal. And I didn't see the game from Arsenal, so I cannot tell you anything about that.
At the same time, though, when there's inconsistency in those decisions, do you need clarification from the authorities as to what should have or shouldn't have gone your way?
Yeah, and sometimes this happens, but I think Oudweb was also on television, wasn't he? When he said it was not unreasonable to disallow our goal. So everybody has his opinion about it. Of course, I have my opinion about it, which is, although I think I can just look at it in a normal way, but maybe I'm a bit biased because I'm a Liverpool manager. But like I said, the first goal that Forest scored this weekend, for me, I didn't have that much problem with it being allowed. The only thing is if your goal is disallowed 2 weeks before. But I think I was quite clear on the fact that that should have been a goal. Would have been a bit weird for me to say that this goal should have been disallowed then.
I didn't think I'd be asking this question after the clean sheet against Aston Villa, and then you obviously built on that with the performance against Real Madrid, where we saw solidity and resilience from your side. So how much is confidence an issue for your players now?
I think till now it hasn't been an issue. If you look at the way we played most parts of the game, so I think I've said Saturday after the game that the first half hour was actually everything I was hoped it to be, except for us scoring a goal. It hasn't been every game this season that we were able to create that many in the first half hour against a team that's defending low. So that was for me positive. But yeah, the first time they arrive in our 18-yard box with a set piece, they score a goal, and then it took a while for us to recover from that. And the first minute after halftime, we conceded again. And then again, I saw a team that was trying a lot. So I even showed them, I think yesterday or the day before, how many times we arrived in the box, how many crosses we gave. And I think there was 6-7 times the amount of times Forest gave a cross. But they defended much better in their box than we defended in and around our box. And that is what everyone keeps reminding us of, or we keep reminding ourselves like that as well. So we have to help ourselves defensively a bit more. I'm not talking about the last line, I'm talking about the whole team. Because then maybe people will also see that on the ball, we are not doing so many things differently than last season. But the amount of goals we concede is, of course, the big difference between this and last season.
And how ready is Joe Gomez to start now? I know we've spoken about him, but it seems almost logical for him to at least help you out at right back at the moment, given the injuries that you've got.
Yeah, he's one of the 5 defenders we have. So that's true. But yeah, normally I wouldn't go into detail maybe that much. But he had an injection last week on his knee. So that means that's normally not because you don't feel anything. Apart from maybe me making the decision to play Dom or someone else in that position, this is also to do with him not being completely fit, although he's in the group tomorrow as he was on Saturday, but wasn't able to train last week every single time.
Thanks, Arne.
Just pas de mic back for Arne, goedemiddag.
Yeah, good afternoon, Arne. The situation, how would you describe the situation, the way it's like at the moment?
Dan wordt het hoogvertaallijk.
How I would describe that as ridiculous almost. Something I didn't expect to be in. Not at any club I was ever going to work at, let alone if you play at Liverpool. If you not play, I wish I played. If you manage Liverpool. So that is unbelievable. I've said many times over here, you cannot find, if you even can find an excuse, you will never find enough excuses to make it that you perform like this. So that's unexpected for the club, for me. For everyone, and But I'm also working at a club. If there's ever a club you need to face this, maybe this is the best club to face it, because the harder it gets at a club like this, the more we are together, the more we are trying to achieve the things that Liverpool usually achieves.
Wat is het grootste verschil met vorig seizoen?
What's the difference between now and this season, last season?
I just said something about us conceding far more goals than last season. That is general in terms of conceding. Last season we've conceded 0 set pieces up to now. Now we've conceded 9. So the amount of goals we conceded and the amount of goals coming from set pieces is again close to ridiculous for a club like us. And but of course there are probably more details that are different. But the biggest one is the goals we concede, because from open play we are still able to generate enough chances for us to get a result. But after half an hour, the first time you have to defend and they score a goal, that is of course not what we did last season and not of our standards.
Ja. Je treft natuurlijk...
Yeah. That was your last question, of course. But who still? Who you work with at Feyenoord? Well, you've got now at PSV. Had you expected that you would have been playing in such a way for PSV?
Ja, had ik van hem verwacht dat hij...
I expected him to have played so well. He played like that at PSV. It's what I've expected. No surprise. He does everything for the team, and then he's also able to score the odd goal or two. So that's great to have such a player in your squad, even though it's chooses a different other player and the different possibilities for him to play. He fought his way back into the team, and when I worked in the Netherlands, I always complained that when he was in the game, there are fewer clubs there. I thought, okay, he could put him in the team and gets the maximum out of his game. And also, he was quite a determined factor in that game, and he was quite underestimated on how his football capability is. And that's also quite often said that, it's most the fact that his mental ability comes ahead. PSV, I've looked at them, but it's not that he's also come from midfield and he gets into the number 10 position. And Peter has always had sort of like that type of surprise to play midfielder up top. And it was really nice for him to have who's in the team. Nice that we went to Dutch, by the way. It's the first time that you've come into such a position as a trainer. How do you keep calm about this type of situation? Yeah. In order to stay calm, I don't really find that difficult to do. It fits in my character. I think most people would describe me as being a calm sort of person, not someone who goes into doing the Polonaise anytime soon. But this situation, it's not really nice, is it? I can tell you that. It's not nice to lose. And especially by such a club as Liverpool. And to be honest with you, I hadn't have expected that myself to become in this sort of situation. With the way you go about it tactically and the quality of the players that you have, you would never expect it to have come into to have lost such a match. You can constantly use facts and figures. You can say it's the 6th match that we've lost out of 7 in the Premier League. I can also say from the last 4 matches we've lost 2, and now we're sitting in the last 3 matches in the Champions League we've won. So let's just see how it goes, and it's lower than the level of expected someone at a club like Liverpool. Do you take the responsibility on yourself? Do you know anyone who can turn it around? Springs to mind. Well, yeah, for sure, I take the responsibility and feel guilty for it. Regarding the second point, we're busy busy working on it. I'm at a club where it's not just used to being successful, but there are also times when we're not. And then we're going to give put extra effort in. For me as a trainer, I try to be lead by example, and I work harder. But in any case, be really well prepared, and that's what our players do. And our fans will let they have been doing the whole year. The team from the start to end, the complete team does everything they can. Because we were in the taxi from the training ground to here, and we talked to the driver, and he said he was a big fan of the club, but he wanted, once I told him that I was going to the press conference, I'd like to know one thing from Slot. What do you think about your own match, your own way of playing? There's only one person who's saying that we've done okay during that period. We haven't won in that period, and the way we've been playing, it doesn't really differ that much from how we played last season and how we've played in the Netherlands, of course. You adapt to the quality of your players, but you also, the opponents, the quality that they have, you adapt. And what I'm used to that. And we haven't really found the right answer to turning those defeats into victories. But without, even if you're 1-0 ahead and then you lose, how can you explain that? It shows you how difficult it is for us to, when you go behind in the way we've been playing, how you can come against that to get through that and turn it around. Hopefully we can go ahead tomorrow night. Hello. Last year you played against PSV, and you played with a different team that we could expect for tonight. What do you think about the team in comparison to that match less than a year ago? We're just talking about who's still, and he's been playing as a striker. But there are also other things that we can see that are common between the two teams. The last 2 years under Peter Bosz, it's a team that dares to press all over the pitch. It's also like to build up from the back, and it's nice to look at as a spectator. It's quite attractive football, but not the team of PSV, but also the way Peter Bosz has his team playing. So there are things that are in common. There are a few differences, but in the back, it's there are lots of things that you can see how he plays. How at Dortmund and Ajax, and now at PSV. He has certain ideas of how you play football. The way that Peter Bosz plays, is that similar to the way you like to play? Is that like a nice thing to play against? For the neutral spectator, it's quite nice to look at, to watch, and that's something we're also responsible as managers. Although our biggest responsibility is to win matches, it's difficult to say. In general, we've been playing against the teams that have been playing a completely different way that we play, and PSV play similar to us, and you got Chelsea playing a different way. Arsenal, they're so playing. It's not as though it's the first time we're playing against a team that we've never experienced the way they play. It's a challenge. It's going to be different to what we had last Saturday. And it's an Englishman will probably think that we'll defend a bit more and have a lot of the ball. It would surprise me if Peter was to do that.
Situation like this, when you're looking at everything that's happened, do you look at yourself and do you feel you need to prove yourself to the fans once again in a situation like this?
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with a situation like this. I think every day you have to prove yourself. if you are working at a club of this level. So you cannot say we won the league or we did this or this and now everything is okay. If you work at this level, the next game is always the one that's most important, and you have to prove yourself every single time. That's for me, that's for the players. And that is also what we like about working in this environment, that you can never rest. You always have to keep going if things go well, but definitely also if things don't go well. So yes, I don't know if I have to prove myself to the fans as well as I have to prove myself to myself and to the players and to everyone involved in the football club.
Hi, Arne. There's a few stats recently about the team losing individual duels and sort of off the ball. They're struggling. What do you put that down to? Is it, is there a lack of fight from the players? We had Virgil on Saturday questioning players, saying they need to take more responsibility and they need to be up for a fight. Have you lost that ability to fight teams?
No, we haven't. But in moments of games, we have lost too many duels. So I think the last game we've played, we had 75% ball possession. That means you only have to defend 25% of the time. And I think in and around our box, we only had to defend 4 times. But the first one was a set piece, led to a goal. The second one was a goal that for me was incorrectly disallowed. And because I didn't see the handball, but maybe I didn't see the right angle. And the third time it was the 2-0. So yeah, it's not a thing that we don't, over 90 minutes, we are not ready or we're not defending well enough. We only have to defend a few times. And in these moments, but I've had this in the past, not 6 from the 7 games lost, but it's not the first time that I experienced that. A team that has so much ball possession for half an hour, you are waiting for us to score a goal, and then you have to defend only one time. And maybe, I don't know, but I've said this many times in Holland as well, that if I have to defend for half an hour, I'm in the defend mode. So I'm just throw myself in front of every ball. And our defenders and all the 11 players, maybe almost including the goalkeeper, is only thinking about ball possession. In the moment they have to defend, we are not as switched on as we should be. And so maybe the answer is less ball possession, because that's what we had against Real Madrid and that's what we had against Villa. And both of the games we won. But so no, I don't think it is a general thing. Otherwise you cannot control or dominate the game we do if you don't win enough duels. But in moments we have to defend better, because City was the same, although City was the better team in the first half. They didn't create that much, but the few times they did create, we were lacking intensity in our duels. Yeah.
Paul? Arne, how did you spend Sunday? And when you're looking for solutions to the problems, is that you on your own, or is it with you and your backroom staff in a meeting, or is it, what is the process behind trying to find a way out of this?
No, I think it's always a combination of things. So you are there talking about this with backroom staff, with other people in and around the club, with your players. And there are many moments when you're on your own. You're thinking about how we can do better than we are doing. So it's a bit of everything. On Sunday, I, of course, watch the game back, look forward to the game of PSV, watch some other games of football, because that's still what I like to do, watch football. And so it's a bit of everything, what you were just saying.
Exactly.
He's helping out.
Arne, you played against Peter Bosz.
Arne, you played against Peter Bosz last season. We were for Feyenoord, and he won twice, and 1 win for you. It was a good time to make it equal tomorrow.
Of the summary you just make, but I think for other reasons it's more important to win a game of football than to go equal in the last 6 games, you see. So we played 5 and tomorrow 4. Oh yeah. Because of so yeah, no, there's no reason for that, but it's obvious that we can use a win, although in the Champions League we've won 3 out of 4, which is, I think, normal for a club like us. But But yeah, another time PSV. I've played quite a lot against them as a player and also as a manager.
Happy with PSV, with the way of playing as an opponent right now? Is that a good opponent to have right now?
Oh, I wouldn't say it's a good opponent to have right now. I think they're probably better than ever. But you are watching them for 3 years in a row. But I think they had a difficult spell last season. In the end of the season, and maybe didn't start that well the first part of the season, although the results were good. But the last 2-3 months, they are just a winning machine. Very comfortable on the ball, defensively much more solid than in the start of the season or the period they had last season. So, the best person to answer that is Peter, of course, himself. But I think this team comes close to the best team he's managed at PSV. But it's for him to answer that question. But they do really well. Being 6 points clear above Feyenoord is already an accomplishment, because Feyenoord does really well this season also. So that tells you how good they are doing. So, it's just the fixture list is the fixture list, but they do really well at the moment.
Just one behind.
Hello Arne, this is Balázs Gyenge from Hungarian Sports Journal, Nemzeti Sport, and I would like to ask you about your Hungarian players, especially about Milos Kerkez. Does his time in the Netherlands make a difference when you're picking the team for tomorrow?
No, that does not make a difference at all that he played in Holland. But I did ask him just before I left, have you ever won against PSV? And he told me, yeah, once in an away game, and we 1-0 with AZ. But no, this has nothing to do with how I pick my lineup. If a player ever played against PSV or played in the Dutch league. But like I said, we have 5 defenders available. He's actually in the position that's the only position we have double. So we have Robertson and him. In all the other positions, Joe Gomez is of course there to help us out. But for the rest, there's not so much competition at this moment of time in our last line. But no, that doesn't impact my decision on if he's playing tomorrow, yes or no.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. And the other side, what about Don? Will he play again?
Will he play on the other side?
Yeah.
He's one of the options I have over there. But it's also clear that Dome is very good in other areas of the pitch. I was expecting, which turned out to be true, by the way, that we had a lot of ball possession against Forest, so he could, from that fullback position, attack a lot, which is also what he did, especially in the first half. I think we were very dangerous over our right side, over our left side, by the way, as well. But that Dom can play in multiple positions, that's clear. Milos can't. Milos is left fullback. But Dom can play in multiple positions. So let's see where we use him tomorrow. But I am going to use him, that's for sure.
Last one behind, just one more.
Ja, sorry, Sjoerd. Arne, is het op een pap?
So with all the defeats you've had in the last period, is that something you can learn from? It's something that I get quite a lot. The trainers get a lot as well. Because when it goes wrong, what you learn from that? It's difficult to say at this moment. To say. I've said that quite a lot of time, and I'll say it again. There are certain things that I know definitely that there are things that you can do better. But this hasn't helped, or that hasn't been of use. So you can think of quite a lot of things, to reasons why that you've lost. So there's lots of things you can use to say you've had a defeat. So for our perspective as Liverpool Football Club, it's you can't have it. It's not acceptable. It's a situation that you don't want to have, and particularly if you work at Liverpool. So now it's time to start winning matches again. But that's what you got to do lots of things to win a match. Well, I think that we do quite well. There are lots of things that we do, but the simple things, at least that's what it looks like, the simple things you must do better. That's what we're not doing at the moment, and not always, maybe. And that's quite easy to solve, but if it doesn't happen that often, you'd think at Johan Cruyff, simple football is the most difficult thing that you can do. The simple things are the things that are quite difficult to do. So,
to the bad questions. You are a do paper. Where go? Beautiful.
To the left. Is out in the hallway. We have in the hall there.
so now, are you this type of period that you're sitting and you have to sort of come up with something, invent something? No and yes. No, because I don't think you have to do anything completely different. That would be not right to us, wouldn't be right to the players. You take that they can want to play a certain way of playing, and a little bit, yes, because if you're a fan of the Premier League, you know it well. The Premier League is going in a different way. You see a different way of playing in the Premier League now, so that maybe asks you to change a few little details in the way you're playing. That's what you've done. So as Guardiola has done, he's changed it up a little bit. The players are more or less the same for the most part, but you do see that high. You have to ask at him really, but they've got full backs, who have become physically more stronger, so they're not so strong in those certain situations. You have this certain physicality, so especially in height. But that's also not an excuse that we're not so tall, and we conceded so many goals in free kick moments, that play moments. But you do look at other teams are doing, how they are performing. What's the best way to find an answer to how they play? In the first half hour, if you look at the first half hour of the last match, it's the one time that you have to defend, and if you survive that, and then there's nothing really going on. If they hadn't made the 1-0, it would have been okay, but the 1-0 from the opponent gives them an enormous boost in self-confidence. They've been chasing the ball for half an hour, and yeah, it gave us a bit of a smack in the face.
You're welcome.